One of the most interesting concepts of Dragon's Dogma as a series so far has been the pawn system. And when somebody asked me the other day, what's the best class for my pawn if I'm playing an archer build, I went, oh, rather than just type out a response, I need to make a video about this because the pawn system is one of the coolest features that I've seen from this series that's unique. A lot of other games, whether it's Baldur's Gate, Rogue Trader, Dragon Age, Pillars of Eternity, those types of games, usually when you're given these side companions, they often are fully narrative. They have their own personalities. There's romance options and everything else. They're usually way more than just sort of general adventuring companions. But the way pawns are designed in this game is that they are meant to just be there as sort of this generic group of mercenaries that you've brought along, and they do have their own skills and unique feature sets that can come to the front and help you with quests and so on and so forth, even if it's not necessarily as direct of a connection as you would have with companions in many other RPGs. So it's a very unique system of the way they've done this, especially when you tie in the fact that pawns can also be used from other players and have their own unique statistics. So it is a pretty unique system. So how to answer the question, what pawn should I take? What should be the main class of my pawn if I'm going to play an archer? And I do want to talk about this a little bit because some of this is just based on how you're going to be playing the game. I could tell you right out of the gate before we dive into everything that's on the website about the pawn system. My direct answer to that question would be personally, because I'm going to be playing an archer and going magical archer, my main pawn will be probably a straight up fighter. I think is the tank one, the sword and board, because the warrior is the two-handed one. So it's the sword and board. I want the sword and board. I need someone who is a tank, someone who's going to draw aggro, stand at the front lines, pull all the mobs to them, have lots of hit points. That's who I need at the front because my job is pew 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 with a bow. I don't need to be up front. So my main pawn will definitely be some sort of sword and board um, fighter. And outside of that, I will have a mage for healing and probably I haven't decided on the last one. You really do have to dive into this a little bit too because there are certain classes in the game that are Arisen only, like the Mystic Spear Hand or the Warfare as examples. Those are Arisen only, so you can't have your pawn be those. But they could be a thief, a mage, a fighter. An archer, things of that nature. So I'll just have to take a look at what I want my third one to be. The main one will definitely be a warrior. Then I'll have a healer and some other type of DPS in the background, whether that's a caster DPS or a warrior with the two-handed weapon. I don't know yet, but that's what I would go for my main. If I was, if you're playing an archer, that would be my suggestion. But you could equally go and have like a sorcerer as your backup and have as your main, and then just have a tank and a healer as your generics. So it's kind of up to you. That's just the way that I would go. But how the pawns work here is that they're customizable by the Arisen. And they could be human or beastren, which is a little bit unique in this game because in the first game they were only humans, but this time you could be either or. Your Arisen will have a party of 3, so you can have up to 3 others. You can then customize one, which will be the one that's always with you no matter what. And it says here you will then enter into a covenant with. You just sign a contract. It's literally pawns from other places, and it says here also other players through the network, which is another aspect of this game that's really unique to it is the social component of the pawns as well. It says over time, pawns will become a worthy companion on your journey as they learn through their experiences, adventuring with you as well as with other players, which will be reflected in their behavior. This is something that it's worth bearing in mind, is that if you make your pawns available, they can be influenced with playing with others. So it's something to keep in mind. Having a diverse team of pawns allows players to have countless ways to play with a sense of multiplayer community in this single player adventure, which I've talked about in some of the videos, which I found as a really interesting take on things. As far as pawn specializations go, this is something that's new and unique to Dragon's Dogma 2, and it's one of the things that I'm really excited about. So it says here, specializations are a unique new feature of pawns. As an example, the ability to translate Elvish is one of many such specializations. If a pawn who has learnt Elvish happens to be nearby, they will automatically interpret those runes and texts for you. And it says here there are many types of specializations, all which add a color. It says that they add color to a pawn's personality. So this is unique to Dragon's Dogma 2 and is something that is going to add an additional layer of flexibility to your gameplay, and it's going to make your game unique to you. Because it could be something as simple as translating Elvish runes for you, but it's also could be something like having better perception or things of that nature. There's really a lot of specializations to pick from. It's going to be a lot of fun to explore that system in its depths. They also have requests and things of that nature, so it's interesting to follow along and do their quests, because they are generally lower level stuff, but it adds more flavor to the game if you want to pursue that, even though they're not necessarily as narrative as companions as they would be in other games. I like the UI shot they've given here. The pawn actually has a quest. Receive raspberry. Oh, specialization woodland wordsmith. Great information here for those of you who want to dive in. There's also something that's unique to Dragon's Dogma 2 here, which is the Dragon's Plague. This is a contagious disease-like condition infecting pawns as they travel between worlds. It says rather than being weakened, pawns with this disease are said to display remarkable performance, and they become conspicuously bold in their speech and behavior. Adding to folklore, when the symptoms of Dragon's Plague reach a terminal stage, it results in devastating calamity. But the veracity of these claims is unclear. But you know you're going to be finding out in the game. And I wonder, and I hope that they allow some of our pawns to get the Dragon's Plague and to turn on us. That would be really cool. Maybe not your main pawn, but one of the side pawns. I don't know. Could be cool. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. You can actually go into the character creator right now if you want to. You can create your main character as well as your primary pawn. I spent, I don't even know what it was, like 20 plus minutes in my preview of the character creator the other day. It's extremely robust. So if you're looking to get a head start on the launch of this game and get your pawn created now, your main pawn, you could do that now. You can actually create up to 5 versions of your Arisen and main pawn in that builder right now, and then you can transport that to your, wherever you're going to be playing. It is a download that happens here on the website, and it's unique to each platform. So there's one for the PS5, one for the Xbox Series X, and one for the PC. So you can go download it where you want, make your characters there, and then those will become ported over to the main game when you start for the first time. So that's a general overview on the pawn system, and to better answer the question asked at the original beginning of this video, which was, which pawn is best. At the end of the day, that really does just sort of depend on you, because there is going to be, there will definitely be things like, I will say a generic statement like a tank is really good for archers. That is a generic statement, because there may be people who disagree with me on that, but there's also hundreds of variants on what that tank is going to be depending on the specializations that you choose, the abilities that you take with your archer versus the abilities that I take with my archer, how much fire, I might go fire damage, you might go cold damage, they might go poison damage. You're also going to be able to heal with arrows. So are you going to be a magic archer healer? I don't know. Like, there are so many ways to specialize the way that you play against the way your main pawn plays, that it really is going to be up to the player to determine what the best pawn for their playstyle is. So I realize that's also a generic answer, but it is sort of the best answer that I can give. I would love to say that there's absolutely, it's got to be the two-handed warrior every time with these 6 abilities. That's the master key to having like the best pawn, but that's highly subjective based on the way people play. So I'm not going to go that route. So those are my ideas as presented in this video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. I do streams daily here and on Twitch. Play a lot of different games, so check out all the playlists. There's a Discord, there's a Patreon, and I will absolutely be playing a ton of Dragon's Dogma 2 with daily videos leading up to the launch of this game, so make sure you check out all the other videos. The playlist links are down below. I'll see everybody next time. Stay safe, and what's your chosen main pawn? Sound off in those comments below, everybody.